In this video, we are going to see about the requirements engineering. This is one of the concept in software engineering practices, the requirements engineering. So here we have these type of tasks: inception, elicitation, elaboration, negotiation. So what is inception is ask a set of questions that establish basic understanding of a problem, the people who want a solution, the nature of the solution that is desired, and the effectiveness of preliminary communication and collaboration between the customer and the developer. So here, this is the communication that happens between the developer and the customer in order to have a clear plan of what has to be done and how the things can be achieved. Then elicitation, this is all about the elicit requirements from all the stakeholders. The stakeholders are the users or the customers who are going to use the software product. So from their viewpoint, they have to gather all the requirements necessary for the software development process. Elaboration is create an analysis model that identifies data, function and behavioral requirements. So once you design or once you plan for any software project, we have to create an analysis model so that we can learn how the data has to be given and how the functions are working, and based on the data and the function how the system changes or how it behaves. That is the elaboration. And negotiation is an agreement between the developer and the customer. So it agrees on a deliverable system that is realistic for a developer and the customer. So once they communicate with one another and they negotiate on all the terms about the schedule, the cost, the staff and the timings, everything, so they can develop a successful software project. So next is the concept of specification. What is specification? It can be any one or more of the following: a written document, a set of models, a formal mathematical, a collection of user scenarios, and a prototype. Actually, what does it mean is, if at all we want to specify about the software project we are going to do, depending upon the nature of the project, it may be a written document. For some problem, a written document may suffice, and for some processes it has to create a model to specify what is needed for the customer, and sometimes it requires a mathematical formula or mathematical model. It's a formal model to specify the requirements, and sometimes it may be the scenarios by the use cases, and sometimes may be a prototype that is a working model. Okay, so the specification can be any one or more of these things so that they can specify very well the software process development. Then validation, a review mechanism that looks for errors in content or interpretation, areas where clarification may be required, missing information, inconsistencies. That is a major problem when large products or systems are engineered. And then conflicting or unrealistic or unachievable requirements. So here validation is a review mechanism. So once the developer develops the product or the project, it is supposed to be validated by the end user. So once they validate, they can have a mechanism of reviewing the product or the process. So that may be some errors in the content or some error in the communication, or the areas which has to be clarified more, and sometimes they expect some information which is maybe missing. That means all the cases are not considered, and likewise some inconsistencies are which is the problem in the large systems, or sometimes the requirements they are specified may not be achievable. So in that case they have to agree on some validation process to obtain the achievable requirements. And then the requirements management. Here what you have to, the managing the requirements, these requirements may be from the personal side or from the timing efficiency or from the finance they are going to invest on that, or the milestones or the schedules, whatever it may be. So those things has to be analyzed regularly in advance. Then inception. So inception, identify the stakeholders. Who else do you think I should talk to? Recognize multiple points of view and work toward collaboration. And the first question is, who is behind the request for this work, and who will use the solution, and what will be the economic benefit of a successful solution, and is there any other source for the solution that you need. So here these are all the inception points that have to be considered. And then how to obtain the requirements. Eliciting the requirements, meetings are conducted and attended by both software engineers and customers. Rules for preparation and participation are established. An agenda is suggested. A facilitator can be a customer, a developer, or an outsider controls the meeting. A definition mechanism that can be worksheets, flip charts, or wall stickers, or an electronic bulletin board, chat room, or virtual forum is used. So here, in order to elicit the requirements or they identify the requirements, they can have meetings together to conduct, that is attended by both the developer and the customer, and by the engineers and all the people, the team of the people. And then how to prepare, that is the rules for preparation and participation is established. So once you are going to meet, they has to first describe on the agenda, what agenda they are going to be work on, and what is the definite mechanism they are going to use in order to specify the requirements. So they can use the Excel sheet, they can use the flow charts, the many tools are available, so they can use any form of mechanism to define their requirements. So finally, what is the goal is to identify the problem, propose the elements of the solution, negotiate different approaches, and specify a preliminary set of solution requirements. So after the requirements are specified clearly, then they can be able to what problem they are going to solve, and what are the elements to get the solution perfectly, and how to negotiate on different approaches, because always there will be a different ways of solving the problem. So one may be the best and other may be better than the current situation. So depending upon necessity, they can negotiate on different approaches, and finally they can specify a set of solution requirements. Okay, so here based on this they have to build the analysis model. So what are the analysis model? What are the elements of the analysis model? The scenario based elements, class based elements, behavioral elements, and the flow oriented elements. So these elements may depict the flow of process from one stage to the other stage. So the first one is the scenario based models, where we are using the functional elements as well as the use case elements. Functional elements process the narratives for the software function. That means what are the function of each and every model or module, and how it is going to affect the other modules which is in communication, and what together all the modules are going to give you a solution, and what are the functions that can be done in a group. So that is done by the functional elements. And use case, here we are having a descriptions of the interaction between the actor and the system. That means actor is he is really creating the product, and how the system, so the builder and the process. So they have used to develop those requirements using the use case models, the elements. There are many notations that can be used in the use case models to define the software requirements or specify the software requirements. Class based elements, this is implied by the scenarios. So here they can build multiple classes required for the particular requirements, and then as we know that class is a collection of data and methods. So what data has to be given and what method has to be operated for the particular component, and based on that how many classes can be defined and how many subclasses can be formed. So the requirements can be totally specified using the class based elements, or sometimes using the behavior elements. What is behavior element is the state diagram. So initially the project is in the initial state 1, and after the application of some function or data it goes to state 2, and then it may split into state 3 and 4. So likewise the stages of the process development goes on and on in different levels. So that can be depicted using the behavioral elements called the state diagram. And the flow oriented elements. What is the flow oriented elements is the data flow diagram. So where the data, we have talk about the sink and the source of the data, where the data emerges and where the data gets into the the output. Okay, the input and the output, and in between the modules, how the data flow between the modules. So these are all the things by which we can build the analysis model. And now let us see what is the use cases. So use cases are the collection of user scenarios that describe the thread of usage of a system. We are going to use a system, and that system has different components, and how the components support one another to get the real product for the user. So that is the collection of user scenarios that describe the thread of usage of a system. Each scenario is described from the point of view of an actor, a person or device that interacts with the software in some way. That means the user. You are going to use the product. That product, that actor may be a person or a device, because some device may receive the input from one module and it will pass it to the other module. Maybe a automated device or a person. So who are the actor may be, they can interact with the software in some way. So that is done by that is called as a scenario, which is viewed as at a point of time. And then each scenario answers the following questions: who is the primary actor and secondary actor? What are the actor's goals? What preconditions should exist before the story begins? What main tasks or the functions are performed by the actor? What extensions might be considered as a story is described? What variations in the actor's interaction are possible? What system information will the actor acquire, produce, or change? Will the actor have to inform the system about the changes in the external environment? What information does the actor desire from the system? And does the actor wish to be informed about the unexpected changes? So here, these are all the scenario questions that arises based upon who is the actor, the secondary actor, what the actor wants to know, what the actor wants to be reported, and what are the functions given by the actor, what is the primary function, what is the extension it may be considered, and what changes can be done, and is the actor wish to accept the changes which is unexpected. So all these things can be defined using the scenario, using the use cases. So let us see the use case diagram, how it is done over here. So here there is a system called sample diagram is given for an use case. So here this is an home owner, he is one actor, a person, and then he is the system administrator. Okay, so we are having a home system in which the many sensors activate or they controls the different parts of the house. Okay, so here some arms and disarms the system, accesses the system via internet. So home user is the user, the owner is the user who can access the components in their at home. Okay, so here what are the possibilities is the home owner can arm or disarm the system. That means they can hold it, they can unhold it, access the system via internet, he can access the internet system through the internet, and responses to the alarm element. So here like when you hear like the home is automated, the oven may go in a high heat, or the washing machine is stopped, or the AC is on, the switches are on. So some alarm can be set, and that alarm can be responded by the homeowner from outside. Wherever he is outside, he can control his home using this software product. It is the example of a software product that a house owner can control his house remotely, and then encounters as an error condition. So they can give some error message, and what these are all the things the house owner can or the homeowner can control from outside, and the sensors helps to respond for the alarm. That's what the diagram here, from the sensors the response to alarm element and encounter as an error condition, and reconfigures the sensors and related system features. Now system admin is the main controller of the system. If anything goes wrong, anything doesn't go as expected, the system administrator has the control, and he or she or it can reconfigure the sensors in order to make the device work efficiently. Okay, so now a class diagram is given for the safe home system. So here there is so we know that class is a collection of data and methods, members and methods, data and functions. Here is from the safe home system. So sensor is the class, name, ID, type, location, area, characteristics. So what is the name of the house owner? and a homeowner, what is the type of the person, where he is located, what is the area. So all these things are given as a data field, and then some functions like identify, enable, disable, reconfigure. So identify what is happening, enable some system, disable some system, reconfigure. So these things are the functions, are the methods of the class. So this is the safe home system is just depicted in the class diagram. So we can see this is the class consists of data and methods for the safe home system, and this is the use case diagram, just depicts how the homeowner and the system administrator are able to control the home system using the sensors. So that's all about this topic, and thanks for watching.